piping some crowd noise in there. What's kind of the key with on the day to look at the offense and kind of knowing to hear things? What's kind of the communication that you're looking for your team in terms of bringing the crowd noise in and knowing what it'll be like Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an added prep every week, whether you're on the road or you're at home. One side of the ball is going to get the noise, and really it's good for both sides, whether you're on the road or not, to get that work. The mechanics in the pre-snap. We're always talking about communication and how we have to be really effective with our communication. In those cases, a lot of times too, it's nonverbal communication. So it's a big part of the prep each week.
Hand signals and type deals.
Yeah, no question. That's it. That's every week. Every week it's a process, verbal and nonverbal, so nothing changes. When you can hear, you can hear. When you can't, you can't. It's all got to be the same. It's a huge part of the prep.
You're going from your biggest test in the passing game to your biggest test in the running game from a running back standpoint. How do you try to contain Ahmed, who's at the second best year of the Pac-12 right now?
Right, no question. And so they're running backs. That position's very deep. Their O-line is obviously really good, and they do a good job, with their schemes and creating blocking angles and getting numbers in any way they can. So we've got to be on point with, like we were talking about, with our pre-snap communication, with our alignments, and obviously our eye control and our assignments and how we're handling our fits, and being really consistent with that.
Now you have to prepare as if Harrison, Jackson are going for them regardless, but what kind of impact does it have whether they do play or not? Because you're talking about one of the best centers in the league. So if those guys are out there versus if they're not out there, what kind of impact does it have?
Yeah, that's like the quarterback of the O-line as well, right? And helping make the calls up front. And he's played a lot of football. He's played in a lot of big-time games. He's a really good player. So it's got to be an advantage for them, if he is able to play. And like I said, he's like the quarterback of the O-line in terms of making calls.
How has Popo been able to help your defensive line and maybe just help Jordan be more fresh?
You know what, Popo's done an excellent job of growing over the course of the year, and especially here in the last month. And really it comes down to his prep and how his urgency and his focus each day when we come here, how that's changed and how it's grown. And we got to continue that trend with him. Obviously, having two interior D linemen, noses in particular, that we feel comfortable about playing and not falling off, that is a huge advantage for us. And so the consistency lies within our prep every week, not only for him but for all our guys.
How much does Verone's emergence as being able to play very confident safety and allowing Javon to come down the middle allowed you to just kind of more do what you wanted to do with this defense?
Yeah, so as we go along, an adjustment we made in fall camp. So knowing, hey, it's going to take a little bit of time for guys to get comfortable and get in the rhythm of things. And obviously, we're still growing in a lot of different ways, but we love the direction we're obviously going right now, and how Verone's growing and how he's doing, and obviously we want to continue to train in that way.
What makes Fuller a unique test by way of a receiver compared to, you just faced a litany of them last week, but what makes Fuller unique from some of the guys you've faced already?
He can run all the routes, and he's got really good speed. He can run all the routes. It's not just a vertical route guy. He can get in and out of breaks. He works well underneath, and obviously he can take it off the top as well. So when you can run all the routes and you got really good speed, you got to cover everything.
One of the measures of defense, and this is havoc, and you guys are creating all kinds of it, but to have 24 guys over 6 games with tackles for loss, could you have even envisioned that at any point, to have that high? I mean, that's a huge number.
Yeah, it's the ability of guys to continue to develop, and for us to be able to play a ton of guys, within the front. And like we talked about, it's a long physical season. Much like this week, there's going to be weeks where we've got to do a great job in the run game, and the more depth we have, gives us a better chance to do that. So we just got to keep progressing and working to develop guys, and then more guys will be in those situations. We'll be able to play more guys.
Speaking on that, MJ played a lot for you against Troy, could play in the second half. How have you seen from him over the last 3-4 years?
Yeah, so he's a young guy learning to play linebacker, right? So, having him be able to get all those snaps was awesome. And obviously we got to continue to grow, but he made some really nice plays as the game went on, and the more he was in there, the stronger he got. So that was an encouraging sign.
Easton being a Northwest kid, do you remember him kind of from Rudy? Did you see him kind of recruiting showcases? He was obviously top quarterback in the nation. Do you kind of have some memories of seeing him in high school, I assume, during the recruiting season?
Yeah, I remember him, but I'm on the other side of the ball. Even here, I don't mess with quarterbacks unless he's in my area, and I just facilitate. And, but yes, of course, he was one of the top recruits in the nation when he was coming out of the Northwest and stuff like that. So, and extremely tall, long. I think he runs well. It shows on film that he's able to extend plays with his feet, and he's got a cannon, and he'll put it in there. And he can throw from the hash to the far sideline, however deep it needs to be. So it's a good player.
Do you have to disguise your language a bit more this week just because there's so much familiarity and you came from that tree, so I'm sure they changed that they do, but do you have to change up and really recode a lot of the stuff that you call?
Just coming into it from the start, a lot of it's been changed already. We've had to, just because there's so many guys from the tree in this conference, so we've already had it. We've changed. We've already been on that.
Going into the stretch where you guys will play a lot of tough road games, what is the key to keeping the success that you guys have so far?
You know what? And it sounds cliche, but it's really about how we prepare in here, and we got to pick that up and obviously keep the focus. And we're always talking about it doesn't matter, what day of the week it is, what type of practice, and when game day comes around, and no matter where we're at, whether we're out here in the practice fields, we're in the indoor, in camp, we pick up and we take the different locations to change up the scenery and do different things. But all with it, we keep the consistency of how we operate, and that is the most important thing, and that's what's going to be a huge challenge, and that's what we've been focusing to do.
What is it about Javon in the nickel that works better than when he was at safety?
Well, at the nickel position, we're asking that guy to do a lot of different things. And much like the boundary side hybrid linebacker, that guy's got to be able to do some different things, set edges in the run game, pass rush, and obviously be an effective pass rusher, set edges, and drop. And much the same, a little bit different levels in each one of those windows, but the nickel also has to be able to do a lot of that, and he's capable of doing, all those things. Good?
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, you guys.